Hi everyone, this is Connor with Grand Valley's Recreation and Wellness Department, and today we'll be taking you through an at-home, mobility-focused exercise routine. You will not need any equipment for this except for maybe a mat for the floor and a timer to make sure you don't go too long on any exercises. We'll be completing each exercise for 30 seconds with a 15 to 30 second break in between. Without further ado, let's get started with a 3-minute warm-up. We're going to perform each exercise in this warm-up for 30 seconds just like the others, but with no rest in between. Okay? So make sure you have some water handy. First, we're just going to get started with a standing rotation. You can start with both of your feet planted in the ground, slowly rotating your trunk back and forth. And then what I like to do is I'll actually let one toe kind of point up as I roll onto each side. And now my knee isn't locked into place, so I can get a little bigger rotation each way. Great job, great job. We're trying to move the hips and the shoulders at the same time. Perfect. And then after that, we're going to move the shoulders around a little bit with some big shoulder circles. Doing about 5, going one direction, 5 coming back the opposite. And you can turn these into single arm. You can make them go smaller. You can play with these ones and do whatever feels best for you. You can do big shoulder openers as well, just getting those shoulders to move a little bit. From there, we're going to go into windmills, which is just going to be bending down and reaching forward, going across each way. And take your time as you warm up with these, reaching a little bit deeper as you get about halfway through, getting more range of motion. Great job, great job. We're just hinging at the hips, trying to keep those knees nice and straight. Feeling the stretch in our hamstrings. After that, we're going to move on to lunging with a twist and a big rotate. If you need to go knee down on these, or you need to drop yourself into a reverse lunge to make it easier, feel free, but we're just trying to get a nice rotate to each side and just alternating legs. Again, go at your own pace. Make sure everything's feeling nice and secure, comfortable as you make each of your movements. You don't want to be wobbling around. Great. And after that, while we're down in this position, we're going to move right into our hip opener. You can start with just being standing up, just like so, and you're just using your hand to help manipulate your knee and get this hip socket to move a little bit. As that becomes a little easy, or if you need an extra base of support, you can bring yourself down a little bit, placing one hand on the ground. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, open up this other leg, so that way it's now facing perpendicular or slightly away from your opposite leg, and do the same motion. And after about 30 seconds, we're going to switch, and you can do the same thing. And you can see if I want to get that bigger stretch, I'm just taking this back foot right here, and I'm just pulling it back behind this leg, just so I can turn and get a nice big stretch in that leg. For our first exercise, we're going to get into a cat-cow. We're going to have our hands right underneath our shoulders, our knees underneath our hips, and we're just arching our back and flexing it back down. Arching it all the way up like a scared cat, and then now we're just pushing that chest down to the ground by flexing our back. So I'm squeezing my abs, flexing my back muscles. Great job, great job. You're going to stay in this position for our next one. We're going to move into bird dogs, and we're actually going to take opposite hand, opposite leg, and we're just going to try to extend those at the same time, just like that. If that feels a little challenging, you can always start with just one hand, coming back, one leg, and then moving back forward. If that started to become a little bit easy as you do this, you can add this twist where you bring your hand down so your elbow can touch onto your knee, and then you're coming back out. So again, for that twist, I'm coming out, tapping back in, coming out again. Great job. And we're just alternating on these. Just going back and forth. Back and forth. Okay, and break. Make sure that you take 15 seconds of rest in between each of these exercises, and then after you complete both these exercises, 2 or 3 rounds through, take an extra 30 seconds of rest there. Quick change in camera angles just so you guys can see my hands on this next one. We're going to get into crab glute bridges. I kind of turn my hands a little bit more sideways for this. And then what I do is I'm going to squeeze my glutes as I press up to a tabletop level and just end myself right there. And then as I come back down, I'm actually trying to see how far back I can swing myself into this area with my shoulders. And then again, I'm just coming back up into this glute position. And we're just getting ourselves to swing and come back in. Swing up and come back in. Again, at your own pace, and everybody's going to be a little bit different for their shoulder flexibility. Great job, great job. Next, what we're going to get into, we're going to get into more of a seal pose with a rotate. So we're going to drop ourselves down into this nice seal position, and then what we're going to do from here, 3, 2, we're going to just rotate by moving our shoulders, pressing with that opposite hand just to bend ourselves in the opposite direction. Great job. And as it becomes a little easy, you can walk those hands back to get a slightly deeper stretch. And again, a little bit more of a rotation and a rotation. You should feel a nice stretch come through the bottom of your obliques and on each of those sides. Great work. And break. Again, complete that 2 to 3 times through, and we'll see you for the next round. And for our last superset today, we're going to get ourselves into a butterfly position so we can do some butterfly sit-ups. We're going to start with our hands all the way back behind our head, and then all we're going to do, we're going to sit ourselves up and try to reach as far forward in front of ourselves as possible to get a nice stretch to the groin, and then coming back, nice and controlled, and just trying to reach forward again. Great work, great work. If that's becoming a little bit more difficult, you can bring your legs out, make it a little bit easier, you can bend them a little bit more, take some pressure away from your core. Great job, great job. And for today's last exercise, we're going to get into 90-degree windshield wipers, having our hands stretched out to the side or holding on to something as an anchor. We're just going to let our hips fall over as we rotate to one side, squeeze our core to let it rotate to the opposite. Over and over. Trying to keep that opposite shoulder wherever our legs are rotating onto the ground. If that feels a little bit too easy, you can bring those feet a little bit higher up, extending those knees, and make it slightly more difficult. You will feel more of a stretch with those obliques as you go through that. Again, go through each of these exercises 2 to 3 times for 2 to 3 rounds, completing this whole routine 1, 2, or 3 times depending on your conditioning level. Thanks so much, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.